Hi everybody, it's Crystal. Welcome to my channel, Bagoday Crochet. So today we're going to be doing a tutorial on this beautiful shawl here. Now this is a shawl that has a three-dimensional effect. If you look at it, I do have a scarf made out of this stitch as well, but this is a shawl. See that? Now this particular shawl pattern is the same on both sides. Hey, that's always good. I always like a pattern that's the same on both sides. The same goes for the scarf that I have as well. I think it turned out quite beautiful. Now this shawl is worked from the bottom up, and it creates its own border as you go along the sides. I think in the video I mentioned that you can put a border across the top if you like to clean it up with single crochet. I just left mine the way it is. Isn't it beautiful? So we'll go ahead and talk about the size and the yarn that I use. So this particular shawl right here that you see, from one corner across the top is approximately 72 inches across. And from the top all the way down to the point down here, it's approximately 35 inches. All right, so you guys get a good look at it. See that? That's super cool. That is like the same on both sides. I really like that. So why don't we go ahead and move this out of the way? It's super quick. It's super easy. I mean, it's just a one row repeat. You guys got this. It's one of those stitches that look complicated, but actually it's super simple. Once you get it down, you'll have this done in no time. Let's do it. Let me move this out of the way. So for this particular shawl that you see, so this was made with the Rico brand, Rico Designs, Creative Melange Aran. It's their Wonder Ball. So I did purchase this at the Wool Warehouse. You don't have to use this yarn. Of course, you can use any, this is classified as a 4-weight yarn. I do believe. Let's look and see if we can find that. But actually this 4-weight goes from thick to thin quite a bit. So I would probably maybe recommend using, you can use a 4-weight. It probably won't have as much drape. The one you see has quite a bit of drape because this was a roving style yarn. And although it is classified as a 4-weight, it goes thick to thin in multiple. It's one of the really wavy roving styles. So, you know, a nice 3-weight, even a 2-weight, 1-weight, any of those would work well. I'm not saying a 4-weight wouldn't work, but I mean, it would. But if you want a nice drape, I might try going with a thinner yarn. Yeah, the Aran weight is considered to be a little bit thicker of a 4, but honestly, that is thick to thin pretty bad. So, if you're not using this particular yarn, you know, 2 or 3-weight would be probably ideal for this particular shawl. So there you go. It's 51 virgin wool and 49% acrylic. This particular yarn is 640 yards a ball, and you're going to need, if you're using this yarn, approximately 1,000 yards to make it the size that you see there in the picture. If you're using a thinner weight yarn, you know, something similar to that would be what you would need, probably 1,000 yards, maybe a little bit more, maybe closer to 1,200. And then we're going to be, so that's the yarn that I use. Here's a color. Let me give you the color in case you're interested and you want to do it just like me. Some people like to use the same yarn. It is color 005. I think that's the color number. All right, remember I got this at Wool Warehouse, Rico Designs, Creative Melange Aran, and it's the Wonder Ball. All right, now, remember, you don't have to use this. And this particular shawl was made with a little bit smaller of a hook size than I would generally use. It's made with a G, which some G's are 4 millimeters and some are 4.25. Either one of those will work just fine. I would use the G if you're using like a 3 or, you know, a thinner 4-weight, you know, something like that. If you're going to be using a 2-weight, I would use probably an F, because you don't, the type of stitches here, you want to use a smaller yarn than what you normally would. Otherwise, you're going to have way huge gaps like that. The smaller hook keeps them closer together like that. Plus, it still allows it to have a nice drape. So, you know, G, if you're using it, like I said, if you're using a thinner 4 or a 3 weight, 2 weight, I would probably go down to an F. And then if you're using a 1, I don't know, an E or an F would probably work for that as well. Just when you start it, if you notice the gapping is too large, just go down a smaller hook. Just kind of adjust with it, you know, so you get the right size hook. But if it starts to look like that when you're making it, you know that the hook is too big. You want it to look a little bit more, you know, closed, but still, yeah, drapey. Anyways, that would be my recommendation on the hook size. So do you guys want to go ahead and get started? Yeah, let's do it. Okay, and we're going to start off with this slip knot on our hook. Now this is an easy 1 row repeat. Once you get it down, it's quite easy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start off by working a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now if you want to use the magic circle here, that would be just fine, but I'm going to go ahead and do my chain of 5, and I want to slip stitch into the first one to form a ring. All right, now I'm going to chain 1. Now that chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, it doesn't count as anything. We're going to be working through the center of the ring, and we're going to go ahead and work 3 double crochets through the center of the ring. So there's 1, there's 2, and there is 3. And then we're going to work a chain of 2. 1, 2. Now we're going to go back and work 3 more double crochets through the center of the ring. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to chain 2 again. Now if you need to, you can slide these double crochets over, but we need to go back again and work 3 double crochets through the center of the ring. There's 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to chain 2, and then one last time we're going to work 3 more double crochets through the center of our ring. There's 1, 2, and there's 3. Now if you want to pull your tail, it should close up that center circle a little bit more. So at the end of row 1 here, you'll have 4 sets of 3 double crochet, and then you'll have 3 chain 2 spaces. So we're going to go ahead and start row 2. Now every time we start a row, it's always started the exact same way. All right. So we're not going to chain 1. We're just going to go ahead and turn our work, and we're not going to do anything at all into this very first double crochet. What we're going to do is slip stitch into the second double crochet, and then the third double crochet, and then slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So don't do anything to the first one, jump to the next one, and we're going to slip stitch, and then slip stitch into the next double, and slip stitch into the chain 2 space. And when you're in your chain 2 space, we're going to chain 1. Now we're always going to do the same thing in the very first chain 2 space. We're going to work 3 double crochets into it. There's 1, 2, and there's 3. Then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go back into that same chain space. You can pull them over if you need to, and work 3 more double crochets. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now what we're going to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now don't make it extremely loose, just kind of normal, but not like real loose chains. Now we're going to come here to our next set of 3 double crochets right here. The double crochet before the chain 2 space is the one that we're going to work in. Now what we need to do is we need to put 3 back post double crochets around this stitch. So what I'm going to do is yarn over, and I'm going to do a back post double crochet around that double crochet, just like that. Now we want to kind of do these 3 back double crochets in order. So the very first one, I always slide it down, and then you can kind of pull your work to the back, and you can see the post that you're working on. And I need to put the next one right on top of that one into the same post, and then the last one, because I remember working 3 right on top of those 3, right on top of those 2. I'm sorry, this is our third one, just like that. And then you flip your work back around, and you have done 3 back post double crochets there. Now we're going to chain 3, and we're just going to jump right over here to the very last chain 2 space. And in every row, the very last chain 2 space is always worked the same. It gets 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and 3 double crochets. And that will end row 2. So we'll go ahead and start row 3. And remember, it's every row is started the same way, so we don't chain 1. We're just going to go ahead and turn our work, and don't do anything into this first stitch. We slip stitch into the next double crochet, slip stitch into the next one, and then slip stitch into the chain space. And then chain 1. And now in the chain space, the very first one, it's always the same, 3 double crochets, a chain of 2, and then 3 more double crochets into that same chain 2 space. Like that. Now we're going to kind of work across. So we're going to do a chain 3 again. Remember not to make these chain 3s extremely loose. 2 and 3. And we are going to not do anything in this set of 3. We're going to come over here to this set of 3. Now this right here is actually the 3 back post double crochet from the previous row. Well, in the very first one, we're going to work 3 back post double crochets in that one. So we're going to yarn over and go right behind it like that and do a back post double crochet. And if you flip it to the back, slide that first one down, you can see the post really well. And then they need to be worked you know, on kind of on in order. So this would be the one at the bottom, and then the second one is next, and the last one would be on the top of the other 2, just like that. And then if you flip your work back around, that's what it kind of looks like. And then we're going to chain 3 again, not extremely loose, just kind of normal. And now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here, and this is our last chain 2 space. And in this set of 3 double crochets, that's before our last chain 2 space, in the very first double crochet of that set of 3, we're going to work a 3 back post double crochets around that. So I'm going to yarn over and put my first back post double crochet around that post. And then it's just, I find it easier just to kind of pull that down to the bottom of the post. And then if you flip your work back and hold it like this, you can clearly see the post, and you need to put 2 more back post double crochets around the same post. So that would be So you have a total of 3. So that's the first one, the second one, and the third one goes on top of those 2, just like that. And then you can flip your work back around to the front. And then we're going to chain 3 again. Just normal, not loosely. And then this last chain 2 space here, we're going to do the same thing that we do in every last chain 2 space, which is 3 double crochets, chain of 2, and then 3 more double crochets, just like that. So that's what it kind of looks like. So we're going to go ahead and start row 4. Row 4 is the repeat row for the whole pattern. So you're just going to keep repeating row 4, and your piece will start, you know, we're starting from the bottom, so it'll start to grow outward like this. So we're going to go ahead and start it off the same way we start them all. We don't chain 1 or anything. We just turn. And remember, we don't do anything into the first double crochet, and then we slip stitch that double crochet, and into the chain space. So remember, this is the repeat row, just a 1 row repeat. And once you're in the chain 2 space, you chain 1, and then we do the same thing that we do at the first chain 2 space of every row, which is 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, go back in it and work 3 more doubles. 1, 2, and there's 3. All right, now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we don't do anything in this first set of 3 right here. We come to the set of 3 double crochet. You can see that are popping out. They were actually the back post double crochet from the previous row, and in the first one right here we do 3 back post double crochet around it. So we're going to yarn over and do a back post double crochet. And once you get that first one down, it's easiest to slide it down the post. And then if you flip your work to the back like this, you can pull your post and you can see it quite well. And you need to put 2 more back post double crochet around that post for a total of 3, just like that. And then you can pull your work back forward. Now we're going to chain 3 again. Remember not to do this loose, not to do that chain 2 loosely. And we're going to jump to our next set of 3, which you can see is right here. And it was again a set of back post double crochet from the previous row. And in the first one, we're going to do 3 back post double crochet around it. I always have trouble with that first one. Sorry about that. Alright, once you get your first one down, you can pull it down your post. And if you flip your work to the back, you can clearly see the post that you need to work on to put your remaining 2 back post double crochet for a total of 3 back post doubles around that post, like that. And then we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3, and then we've come here to the end. This is our last chain 2 space right here. Now this set of 3 double crochets before our last chain 2 space, the first double crochet of the set of 3, we have to work 3 back post double crochet around it. This is how it grows. So there's 1. Going to pull that one down the post, and then you can clearly see your post there. There's 2, and we're going to go ahead and do 1 more for a total of 3 back post double crochets. Then we're going to chain 3 again, flip that back over to the front, and in our last chain 2 space, it's always the same: 3 doubles, a chain 2, and 3 doubles into that last chain 2 space. So there's 3 doubles, there's my chain 2, go back in, and I'm going to work 3 more double crochets. And that you know, that's it. That's how it's worked. So you would just keep repeating a row 4, you know, until you get it the size that you want it to be. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do row 5, which is just a repeat of row 4. It just grows a little bit more each time that you do a row. So I'm going to turn without chaining. I'm going to not do anything into my first double crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch 1, 2, and the third time would be into my chain 2 space, just like always. There's 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to chain 1. And then our first chain 2 space always gets the same, which is 3 doubles, a chain of 2, and 3 doubles. And remember, we're just repeating row 4. So we're going to go ahead and work our chain of 3. Remember, it's very important not to do that very loose, that chain 3. And we don't do anything into this first set of 3. We look for our first set that was back post double crochets on the previous row, and you can see them very clearly right here. And in the first one, we got to work 3 back post double crochet around that. So we're going to yarn over and back post double crochet around it, get that first one in, pull it down the post, and then I flip my work so I can clearly see the post that I'm working in right there. And I'll go ahead and put my other 2 back post double crochet for a total of 3, and this is what I'm going to repeat all the way across. So again, I'm going to chain 3 again, 1, 2, 3, jump over here to my next set of 3 right here, and in the first one, 3 back post double crochet, so there's 1, pull it down a little bit, 2, and 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Come up here to your next set of 3, and in the first one, 3 back post double crochet around that first one. So there's 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and when you come to the end here, here's our last chain 2 space. In this set of 3 here, we always have to go into the first one here of this set of 3 and do a 3 back post double crochet around this one. There's 1, slide that down a bit, so you don't have to do the slide down. It just makes it easier for me to see my post when I slide it down. There's 2, and there's 3, and then we're going to do our chain 3, not too loose, and then we're at our final chain 2 space, and we always do the same thing in the last chain 2 space, which is 3 doubles, chain of 2, and 3 more double crochet. just like that. So you can see that's kind of what it starts to look like. Now if you pull it apart, you can kind of see the three-dimensional look of it. It looks, you know, more rows on it you get on it, you know, it'll look better, but it looks the same, you know, pretty much on both sides. So it's just a repeat of row 4, which is what we did here for row 5. So let's go ahead and repeat it one more time, you know. So we're just going to turn our work and slip stitch 1, 2, 3 times into the chain 2 space, and then chain 1, and then the first chain 2 space is always the same, 3 doubles, chain of 2 and 3 doubles, and then we go ahead and start repeating. We do our chain 3, and we don't ever do anything in this first set. We come to the next one right here, and in the first one, 3 back post double crochets. Remember, I'm just repeating row 4, and I also am doing the same thing that we did on row 5 because it's just a repeat of row 4. Chain 3, jump over here to the next set of 3, and in the first one, 3 back post double crochets. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, jump over here to our next one, the very first one here, 3 back post double crochets, we just do this to the end, keep doing it to the end. Chain 3, next one, first set, the first of the set of 3, 3 back post doubles. So you can see it's a very easy 1 row repeat. Chain 3, and then always this last one here, remember at the end, here's our last chain 2 space. We always have to work 3 back post doubles around this first one of this group of 3. So it will continue to grow. And then we chain 3, and then we're at our final chain 2 space, and remember it always gets the same thing, 3 doubles, chain 2, and 3 doubles, and you just keep repeating that row 4, which is what we repeated on row 5, and it's what we just repeated again on row 6, you know, until you get your shawl as big as you want it to be. And it just gives it a 3-dimensional look. Now if you want a straighter edge on top, you can definitely go across the top with some single crochet or something, but I like the look of the just the chains on top. It kind of just goes with the pattern, I guess. Alright, and once you get done, you can make the shawl as big as you want. You want to make it the size as the one you saw in the picture, which I said is about approximately 72 across if you're using a, you know, like a thinner weight 4 or something like that, possibly a 3 weight. This one has 64 total rows on it. Of course, remember you do as many as you like for however big you want your shawl. When it comes to shawls, they're just so highly customizable to your liking. You can use any weight. You can make them any size. That's what I love so much about shawls, because, you know, they're just so customizable. You can make them like I said, and any yarn that you want. It doesn't matter the weight. You can make them any size that you want. You can make this shawl right here for a child. You know, just crop it in like half size or something, and then it would fit a child. Or you can make it, if you want like a blanket shawl, you can make it super huge. You know, the sky is the limit. It's your creation. I'm only showing you how to do it. You make it how you like it. And then show me a picture on my Facebook page, okay? There's a link to that below in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe and turn them notifications on so you don't miss out on any of my videos or anything like that. And give me a like and a comment below. Let me know what you think. All right, I'll see you guys on my next video. Take care. Bye, guys.